Well, the books of Samuel, again, are significant as we think about the progress of God's story. Pentateuch, we've constituted this covenant people, and Joshua, they enter this land of the promise, and Judges, they start to settle. And then Samuel is raised up to be a judge and a prophet, an anointer of the first two kings. And so this is a key transition as we think about the history of the Hebrew people with Samuel. And part of Samuel's task will be to implement a covenant with a ruler, with a teenager named David, a rival to King Saul. And so we have this anointing of David, and eventually there'll be a covenant made with David and his household, the so-called Davidic covenant, where David will have a dynasty promised to him. A family of leaders will come out of David and rule the Hebrew people. And this is, I think, significant in terms of sequence. We had a covenant with Noah. We had a covenant with Abraham. We have a covenant with Moses. And now there's a covenant with David. And there's a leadership component that's established here. And I think it's significant because when you look at the story of the Old Testament, there's a crisis of leadership. It seems like the Hebrew people are always struggling with leadership. And they have a few examples that they can point to as model leaders. A Moses, perhaps. A Joshua. Again, not that they weren't without their flaws, but they at least brought the Hebrew people to those places where they need to be, and they obeyed God. And that's David's covenant. David's covenant is about God raising up a family, a dynasty who will lead the Hebrew people, provide the kind of leadership they need, and in a sense respond to this crisis of leadership that they've had, especially seen in the book of Judges as we think about really those dismal and disturbing days of Israel's life during the days of the Judges. And so key concepts, I think, in that Davidic covenant would include the promise of leadership rooted in a family, David as the ideal, so to speak, of what that would be when you take a look at David's life, one who trusts God, one who knows and teaches God's law, one who has a sensitive heart and understands sin, but also repentance. And then perhaps the key word. This is David's life early on. He's a shepherd. And that's what Davidic kingship is about. It's about shepherding God's people. And this becomes the ideal for Messiah. God's Messiah will be a shepherd. He will be pastoral in his oversight and care, but also righteous and just in the way he administers his leadership and rule. And so Davidic covenant addresses a key issue, leadership, and what for the Hebrews was often a crisis point or a crisis issue. And it gives us some, I think, perspective, some projection as we think about Messiah and the future. Kingship will have a shepherding component, and there'll be this righteous king who will rule and pastor, in a sense, the people. And so I like to use that Davidic covenant as a way to remind us that God will address that issue of leadership for his people.